Hi, today we are going to start our first session of our second semester Algebra 2 paper, and the first section is dealing about ideals. Okay, now just discuss what is the definition of an ideal. An additive subgroup, this is an additive subgroup N. Okay, now what do you mean by an additive subgroup N? R is we have a ring R and N is a subring of R. Okay, an additive subgroup or subring N of a ring R satisfying the properties An subset of N and Nb subset of N for every A comma B belongs to R is an ideal. Okay. This is subring. You can write this as an additive subring N of a ring R satisfying the properties An subset of N, Nb subset of N for every A. Now moving to one example, Nz is an ideal in the ring Z. For example, if you consider 2Z, clearly if you take any element, some 6, then 6 into 2Z. If you take any element 6 into 2Z, then this is of the form 6 into an element x such that x belongs to 2x. Okay, and this is equal to 6 into some 2n because elements in 2Z also from this one, and this is equal to some 12n. Clearly this also belongs to 2Z. So, and here as operation is commutative. 2Z into 6 is also a subset of 2Z. Therefore, Nz is an ideal in the ring Z. Okay. Now, next example. Let F be the ring of all function mapping from F into R. Capital F consists of all functions from F from R to R. And let C be a subring of F consisting of all constant functions in F. This consists of F is this one and C is all constant function in F. Then this C is an ideal in F. Okay. How we get we have to prove whether C is an ideal in F. The answer is no. Because if you take a product function of a constant function, suppose f of x equal to some 5 is a constant function and some x f from R to R defined by f of x equal to x is our function, then what is An? An is clearly need not be a constant function. Okay. Therefore, another example, if you consider 2 and sin x, then 2 sin x is not a constant. Therefore, C is not an ideal of F because C consists of all constant function. Okay. If you consider f of x equal to 5 and f of x equal to x, then clearly 5 into x need not be a constant function. Therefore, set of all f is that is not a that is not an ideal. Now let F be the ring of all function mapping from R into R, and let N be the subring of all functions such that f of 2 equal to 0. Then is N is an ideal in F, Y or Y not? Clearly N is an ideal in F because f of 2 equal to 0. If you take any f belongs to F and G belongs to N, Fg of 2 is f of 2 into G of 2, f of 2 into G of 2 is G belongs to N. Okay, G consists of all function with G of 2 equal to 0, therefore this is equal to 0, therefore Fg belongs to N. Similarly, we can prove Gf belongs, therefore N is an ideal. Okay. If you consider the evaluation homomorphism phi 2 from F to R, what is evaluation homomorphism? Phi A of F equal to F of A. Or if you take phi C of F and F, then value is F of C. Okay. So in this case, phi C of phi 2 of F equal to 0 means set of all F such that phi 2 of F equal to 0 means this is the kernel of the evaluation homomorphism. That means F of 2 equal to 0. Therefore, kernel of the evaluation homomorphism is a subring. Clear? Now let n be an ideal of a ring R, then additive corsets n form a ring R by n with binary operation defined by actually R over n. Okay, a plus n plus b plus n equal to a plus b plus n, a plus n into b plus n equal to ab plus n. This consists of R by n consists of elements of the form sum a plus n. Okay, a belongs to R, and the result says that this additive corsets R by n form a ring under these operation addition and this is multiplication. Now R by n in the preceding corollary is the factoring of R by n. Okay, this R by n is the factoring of a ring R by n. Now next theorem. Let n be an ideal in R and gamma from R to R over n given by gamma of x equal to x plus n is a ring homomorphism with the kernel n. I am not going to the proof, details of proof. This okay. This is similar to one theorem in your group theory. Okay. Now next fundamental homomorphism theorem. Let phi from R to R dash is a ring homomorphism with the kernel n. Phi of R is a ring and the map mu from R over n to phi of R given by mu of x plus n is equal to phi of x is an isomorphism. Also, if gamma from R to R over n is a homomorphism given by gamma of x equal to x plus n, then for each x belongs to R, we have phi of x equal to mu gamma of x. We have this result. Okay, phi is a map from R to R dash. Okay, and this is R, and what about this? This is phi of R. Okay, and gamma to R over n, we have this result gamma map, and R over n to phi of R we have mu map. This is phi, and by this is also mu R of x. If you consider composition, clearly mu composition R is equal to phi. Okay, this is fundamental homomorphism theorem. Now give an example to show that a factoring of an integral domain may be a field. We have Z dot into is an integral domain. Pz is an ideal. Now Z over Pz is isomorphic to Zp. If you consider Z over Pz, what is Z over Pz? Coset. If you consider coset Z over Pz, then clearly this is isomorphic to Zp. You can easily calculate what is Z over 3Z. Okay, using group theory. Okay, and this is isomorphic to Zp. Zp when P is a prime number is a field. Therefore, factoring of an integral domain may be a field. Now next is an example to show that factoring of a ring with the divisors of 0 may be an integral domain or it is a field. Here Z4 addition modulo 4 is a multiplication modulo 4 is a ring with 0 divisors, because if you multiply this one, then we get 0. Now if you consider n equal to 0 to, clearly this is an ideal. What about Z over n? Z over n is 0 plus n, 1 plus n, 2 plus n, 3 plus n. Okay, and if you consider this one, we get this is same as, these are repeating, and this is same as 0 plus n, 1 plus n, and this is isomorphic to Z2. Therefore Z over n is isomorphic to Z2, which is a field. Now if you consider Z cross Z, clearly Z cross Z is a ring with 0 divisors. But if you consider n equal to Z 0 n, then clearly this is an ideal in Z cross Z, and Z cross Z over n is isomorphic to Z, which is an integral domain. In this case we get field, in this case we get integral domain. Factoring is a field, in this case we get factoring is an integral domain. Every non-zero ring has at least 2 ideals. One is improper ideal R and next one is trivial ideal Z0. Okay, for this ideal R over R is isomorphic to Z0 and R over Z0 is isomorphic to R. Okay, Now, a proper non-trivial ideal of a ring R is an ideal n of R such that n not equal to R and n is not equal to Z0. A proper non-trivial ideal of a ring R is an ideal n of R such that n not equal to R and n not equal to Z0. Okay. Now moving to one of the most important theorem. If R is a ring with unity, this will ask for one weightage. Okay. If R is a ring with unity and n is an ideal of R containing a unit, then n must be equal to R. That is, R is a given, listen carefully, R is a ring with unity, n is an ideal of R containing a unit. What is meant by unit? U is a unit means U inverse exists. Then n equal to R. Okay. Clearly we have n is an ideal means n is a subset of R. Therefore, to prove n is equal to R, what we have to prove? We have to prove R is contained in n. Okay. So, let n be an ideal of R and suppose that U belongs to n for some U belongs to for some U in R. Okay. Clearly n is a subset of R. To prove n equal to R, we need to show that R subset of n. For this, we have to take some R. Okay. So, before that, as by the definition of ideal, an subset of n for every a belongs to R. Therefore, Rn subset of n for every R belongs to R. So, if you take R is equal to U inverse, U clearly belongs to n. We have, listen carefully, Rn is subset of n. What is the meaning of that Rn? Rn means R into x, such that x belongs to n. This set completely contained in n. So, if you consider R is equal to U inverse, then U inverse x, this is contained in n. So, if you, and this is true for every x belongs to n. Therefore, if you take x as U, U inverse U belongs to n, a subset of n. That means 1 belongs to n. So, 1 belongs to n. And clearly Rn subset of n for every R belongs to R implies if you take 1 in n, clearly R into 1 equal to R, that belongs to n. This is true for every R belongs to R. Therefore, if you consider 1 belongs to n, R into 1 equal to R, and this clearly belongs to n because Rn is a subset of n. You take n is an element 1 in n, then clearly R belongs to n. That means R is a subset of n. Therefore, n equal to R. Therefore, if R is a ring with unity and n is an ideal containing a unit, then n must be equal to R. Now, next result. A field contains no proper non-trivial ideals. How we can prove? We know that by this theorem, every ring with, if R is a ring with unity, n is an ideal containing R unit, containing a unit, then n equal to R. We have to prove field has no proper non-trivial ideal. Suppose n is a proper ideal contained in R. Okay. So, clearly n contains, n is a, R is a, suppose n is properly contained in F. Clearly F is a, as F is a field, F is a ring with unity, and as F is a field, every element of F is a unit. Therefore, every element of n is a unit. Therefore, n is an ideal containing a unit. Therefore, n must be equal to F. Okay. Since every, the proof is here, since every non-zero element of F is a unit, it follows at once from theorem 1.4 that an ideal of F is either Z0 or all of F. Now, next definition. A maximal ideal of a ring R is an ideal M different from R such that there is no proper ideal n of R properly containing M. That is, there does not exist a n such that M is properly contained in n contained in R. Okay. So, In that case, we call M is a maximal. If there does not exist a n satisfying this condition, then we call M is a maximal ideal. An example of a maximal ideal is P set. Okay. If you take some 2 set or some 4 set, clearly 4 set is contained in 2 set. But if you take 3 set or if you take 7 set, clearly there does not exist a set which is properly contained in which properly contains 7 set and properly containing set. Therefore, 7 set is a maximal ideal. In general, for any prime P, P set is a maximal ideal. Okay. Next is one theorem that we will discuss in our next class. That's all for today's class. Okay.